The Chicago Bears continue to clear up and free themselves up to do something crazy in the 2025 NFL Draft as they have signed extensions and signed a new wide receiver and re-signed a tight end. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And I know we had a breaking news episode on these signings last night, which was really good to see. The Chicago Bears have signed Jonah Jackson to a contract extension that basically guaranteed his 2026 contract for next year. It also shifted the signing bonus to free up a little bit more money for the Chicago Bears to use this year in free agency if they decide to do so, which coincides with some of the other moves that they did. But getting Jonah Jackson signed through 2027 is a really good move for the Chicago Bears. You have a guy here who's been a former Pro Bowler who last year, I know a lot of people were looking at his stats last year. He switched positions to center. He's not going to have that problem here. He's going to be a guard here. Ben Johnson's already stated that. He'd made that absolutely clear for this team. And it frees up some things for the Bears. Like it adds some clarity, right? Being able to bring in and keep Jackson here long-term, it's just good money, right? I think it's smart when you look at it when it comes down to it. He's 28 years old, right? And, it just locks him in, and having a guy that has that caliber, better than anything we've really had at guard the last few years. As long as he stays healthy, Jonah Jackson's going to be an absolute upgrade for the Chicago Bears team, right? And I think that's a good move overall when you look down to it. And it's actually shifted the Chicago Bears cap space, which coming into yesterday, the Bears sat at $14 million in cap space. It's now shifted it to $27.8 million in cap space the Chicago Bears have. That gives them about $10 million still to play with outside of the money that's allocated to their, a little bit over that's allocated to their upcoming draft pick. So this is maybe, and if Ryan Poles starts restructuring contracts even more, that's going to free up even more for Ryan Poles maybe to make another swing at a player. Now, the free agent pool is starting to dry up, right? So, their trades or things during the season, right? They'll use Ryan Poles some leeway to do some other things, but I think extending Jonah Jackson is a really good move here by the Chicago Bears. I think that is a smart one. But then the Bears went out and made another move yesterday. It actually came before the Jonah Jackson extension, and that was Olamide, I believe, Zaccheaus. I know I'm pretty solid on his last name, but this is a guy who coming in, he's going to be able to be the wide receiver 3 for the Chicago Bears, and I like him at that position, right? Again, this is a guy that is a solid blocking wide receiver, which I didn't really talk about in yesterday's emergency episode because the Jonah Jackson news came down and kind of threw me off my game there a little bit. But this is a guy that he's bringing that aspect of being a solid blocker, even at being 5'8", 193 pounds. He has that speed, 45 receptions last year for 506 yards, 3 touchdowns, an average of 11 yards per reception. When you look at his NFL career, he averages 13.4 yards per reception for his career. Now, some of that's inflated by his rookie year 2019 with the Falcons, where he had an average of 38.3 yards per reception on only 3 receptions. But still, this is a guy that even if you take that year away, you're still looking at still around 12 yards per reception. This is a guy that gets it done, right? And so at that specific position, it allows a lot of free up for the Chicago Bears. I also think it doesn't, if Tyler Scott comes into training camp and shines or whatever else, it still allows them to use Tyler Scott. But this is a guy that kind of has that same kind of mold, but it's already a proven commodity in the NFL. And that's really, when you look at what the Bears have done here, they've added proven commodities, right? So again, raising the floor. And I think that that's a really good thing, especially when you're looking at still evaluating Caleb Williams, still preparing for that. And you can hit a knockout run down the road. So, and maybe this is even somebody that Tyler Scott can learn from. Tyler Scott's 3 inches taller than him at 5'11", right? But at 185 pounds, he's also speed out, things like that. So I like this signing. It's another really good signing at a position that needed stability, right? So no, he's not Keenan Allen. I told you guys, prepare yourself. They're not going to try to replace Keenan Allen with somebody of that same caliber, and they don't necessarily need to. If you're putting in DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Cole Kmet, and they're going to be used better in the passing game than what they were last year under Shane Waldron, that's what Ben Johnson's going to draw up his scheme for. You get in now a third wideout that's a reliable third wideout, right? You already have size with DJ. You have size with Rome, right? You have another reliable who adds in a different look. Those gadget plays that Ben Johnson likes to incorporate, he's a guy that's going to be used in that very heavily. I love what the Bears have done here. And I'll tell you what, I'm not saying that they're picking Jeanty at number 10, but if you add Jeanty, and you have Jeanty and Smith in that backfield, right? Now you have this just crazy talented offense that now can be supported by a solid offensive line. That's the part that makes this all special, and that's the part that it seems like it's all coming together for the Chicago Bears. Again, that vision, that's an important part in all of this, is having a vision, having the coaching staff and the personnel to execute that vision, and that's how things all start working in tandem, all start working in unison, and that's what it seems like we're going to have with the Chicago Bears. Now, a lot of people have been asking what the Chicago Bears are going to do. Could they possibly draft a tight end? Well, they've re-signed tight end Stephen Carlson to the team. They just re-signed him. This is a guy that showed some things last year, right? It is what it is. Played on special teams for primarily, was on the practice squad. Got to see him in preseasons and things like that. He has 6 career receptions for 62 yards. So it doesn't really mean that the Bears are going to not do something if they want to decide to draft a tight end, that he still could. But I think with bringing in Durham Smythe to this, I don't think tight end is going to be as high on their board with Cole Kmet already locked in. I think Ben Johnson's going to have a great plan on how to use Cole Kmet. But again, this Bears team is it's done not only sensible things, it's done the right things, and it's done things in how you see how they work as part of a system, as part of a scheme, and as part of a plan, right? And so that's really good in what you have coming down here now with the Chicago Bears. And, shout out to my boy Pat, the designer, my brother over there, who said it best. It's the Bears are really doing everything as far as with the personnel that is going to put a lot on Caleb and Ben Johnson. Are you guys who the Bears thought that they were when they brought you to this team? And a lot of that's going to be told on the field next year. And I love the way that the Bears have just maneuvered in this free agency. This has been such a night and day. You know what? The Bears are moving like a team that actually won something last year. And I think that that's an important part to it. Like, they're moving with the level of focus of a team that's won something, a team that's been there before, a team that understands. And part of that comes with Ben Johnson coming to this. I think part of that also comes with Kevin Warren. Part of that comes also with Ryan Poles learning from his mistakes. And now you have all these guys and all these pieces that are working in unison and in tandem. And I think that that's just showing and proving that, at least on paper, the Chicago Bears team has done some really good things. Now, again, I say on paper because it is on paper. And not always do moves, no matter how much sense they look like they make on paper, always work out in reality. I'm not saying that I think that that's what's going to happen with the Bears team. I'm just saying, hey, let's wait and see how this team actually looks once they get everything together. But I tell you what, man, the Bears they are going through free agency in such an intentional way that I got to give them credit. Now, we got to get it on the field, and that's the most important thing in all of this. That's what I keep going back to, because you got to get it on the field. And if you're not getting it on the field, what the hell are you doing, right? So that's what we'll see. The Bears doing some really good things right now. When you look at Drew Dahlman and saying how he can help Caleb Williams, that's a really good thing. And I love that. I love what's happening here. And hopefully we actually get the team that we deserve now on the field. Let's hope that that's the case. But let me know what you guys think on all of that down below. It is Friday. That means it is Mailbag Day. We got 5 voicemails to get into. Let's get into them. This one's from Fred.
Hey, yo, Hayes, what up, man? It's be your boy Fred, man. How you doing, my brother? Hey, I like how the Bears making moves, the trades, the free agency. I'm feeling they finally looking like an updated team, a franchise that want to win. It's like they ready to give us that team. You know what I'm saying? And about goddamn time. Now, if we can get the Bulls in the same direction, but I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna call on the Bulls Central for that though. But once they get this established, I'm telling you, I think the Bears can. I think they can be a playoff team, as long as they doing it right, and as long as the coaches are who they say they are. They got. You know, I want to see Ben Johnson and the Bears, you know, succeed and everything because it's been too long. We haven't had a winning season since what? The 2 seasons Nagy was with us. So it's about time we get something new. You know, so hopefully in the draft, man, they can go get what they need now because they saw most of everything in free agency. Like in the first round, if they get Jeanty, I'm fine with that. If they don't get Jeanty, I'm all right with that. If they decide to go with a caliber left tackle in the first round, I'm definitely okay with that because I don't trust Braxton Jones anyway. So I'm with you on that, Hayes, because whoever sat there and told you on the show I was watching a couple of days ago, they talking to practice a top 15 left tackle. They definitely delusional as hell, man, because I know me and you watching the same game, and we see this asshole get bull rushed and get done in all the time. So I'm okay if the Bears do get a left tackle in the first round, though. We get a running back probably in the second round or something. Get a guard, an end, you know, get the things that we can get, though. So long as the Bears do right, and Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson and Kevin Warren, all them guys, you know, working together to build a championship culture here and everything, like, I'm all for that. I'm ready for the Bears to put some wins on I'm saying, for the city so we can talk our shit to everybody and ready to see this team to be in the playoffs, championship game, Super Bowl. I'm ready for all that before it's my time to leave this earth. Because, man, I'm 39, Hayes, and I know you and you around the same age. Like, we ain't getting no younger, my brother, but, yeah, I just want to see, you know, the Bears to succeed, man. And that's all us fans, that's all we want as Bears fans. Give us at least one winning Chicago team, man. Because the Bulls ain't doing it. White Sox, Cubs, you know, man, we just want at least one winning Chicago team. But let me know what you think, though, big dog. Chicago what? Bear down or nothing.
The Bears are finally looking like a team that wants to win. Listen, I couldn't word it any better myself. That's why I talked about the intentionality with how this team is moving. It's been great to see. And I love it. I love it. And like you said, they have added so much flexibility in what they can do with this draft. Could they go defensive end? Yes. Could they go offensive lineman? Yes. Could they go running back? Yes. Because they've addressed so much of what they absolutely need that now it has freed them up to get a little creative if they choose to do so. They can still go functional, right? We still got a left tackle position that very well could be ready for an upgrade, so they could go that, right? And, you know, don't overlook the ability to trade back. I know people have said, don't trade back. No, sometimes trading back is best, especially if you get, like, they traded back and got Darnell Wright and still picked up Javon Dexter. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know people like to stay on Jalen Carter and act like he's some end-all, be-all, but go and look at Jalen Carter's numbers, both in advanced stats and in the counting stats. Javon Dexter wasn't that far off, right? And so now I think when you look at that, sometimes trading back is the thing to do. We'll see if the Bears do that. There's no guarantee on that, but I think that just saying that it's freed them up to do so many creative things. They'll see where the future does hold, man. I love what the Bears have done here. They've been smart. Now, let's hope that it ends up translating on the football field. But thank you for leaving that voicemail, Fred. Let's get into this next one, man. This one's from Chris.
Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Chris Evans again. I'm back again. I'm just watching, Thursday's edition of CBC, Chicago Bears Central, and seeing that Kyler Gordon loves playing here, I think we should sign him to a 2-year deal. You know, if we got 14 left, I'm thinking $8 million, $5 million guaranteed, tear up the contract depending on how he does next year, and maybe cut Tremaine and see how much we pay him and give that money to Kyler for 3 years. We'll see as far as the details concerned. I don't know what the cap space looks like for next season, but we'll see. But I think we sign up Kyler Gordon within next year for 3 to 4 years. Thuney being a 4-time champion, being the godfather of this offensive line, he needs to stay. I think if he performs, which I know he will, bring in that champions mentality of coming into work early, putting in the work, watching film, and just being better every day, that's going to get us to our minimum 10-7 win. And if we get him some blue chip talent that he can groom within the first year or two to actually perform, I don't see why we can't be a playoff team in within the next 2 or 3 years. You know, we got a lot of money to play with Caleb. So let me know what y'all think. Thuney, sign him to be the offensive line godfather. Braxton Jones a depth piece, Darnell a starter. Let's get him some young guys he can groom. Kyler Gordon is signed for the next 4 years and keep him in Chicago. What y'all think? Chicago up, bear down.
Signing Kyler Gordon to an extension seems almost academic at this point. Now, you never want to assume anything, right? But I think everything that Kyler's proven on the field, as well as his flexibility, right? As well as how he likes to be used, especially with Dennis Allen and what he's bringing to this team. I'm not really too worried about Kyler Gordon getting an extension. I think Kyler Gordon's going to get one. I think, like I said, it's almost academic at this point. Now, Chris, you got a little too much dip on your chip. Saying that Tooney gives us 7 wins automatically, that's putting a lot on the offensive lineman. I get it. Yes, he's a Super Bowl champion. Yes, he ups the expectations of that offensive line right away and immediately. Yes, he's a veteran that does also need to be re-signed to an extension, but I think you're getting a little, like, we're excited, but you're getting a little too excited to say it automatically adds 7 wins, makes us a 7. Like, I think everything got to work in tandem. And your offensive line sometimes can only be as good as your weakest link, right? And we got to see how these guys are going to play together. Now, I don't have too many doubts about how they're going to play together, but I think you got a little bit too much dip on your chip with the win total. But overall, I do think Tooney's going to get a contract extension too. I think that the Bears at this point, I get it, he's a little bit older, but 32 in this league, like, you're seeing offensive linemen play well into to age 36. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he signs a 1-2 year extension with the Chicago Bears, and that just gives them that time of having that standard on that offensive line as they get ready to build in the young crop of offensive line that's going to come up behind those guys. So, I think that's going to be a big thing. But, yeah, I think Tooney getting a contract extension, that's coming down the pipeline as well. Great voicemail there, Chris. Let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Keys on this lovely Thursday afternoon, man. Blessings to everybody, man. Let's get into it. Man, I'm thinking about the draft, and I looked at the free agency, how we did fill in the spots that we needed with the guys, veteran leadership and guys that have been proven players in the league. When I go back into the draft, right, and I see everybody's like, Ashton Jeanty, which, I feel like it's going to happen, but I'm not going to put it past anything. I'm still more of the mindset where we need to add more players, like best linemen available, because we need to create that, because I look at age too. Tooney is 32 going on 33. Now, how much longer can a player of that age still play at a high caliber? You never truly know when you're playing in the trenches like that. So I'm of the ilk of the mindset of, hey, go for probably best lineman available, whether it's Kelvin Banks Jr., I really like Gray Zabel. Put him behind Tooney, let him learn some stuff, let him grow, let him do what he needs to do. If Will Campbell is there, we need somebody to push Braxton Jones, because, it was said that we need competition. But then you also look at, like, the second round, you might have Josh Connolly Jr. if he doesn't get in the first round, that type of stuff. Then we look at defense. If Mike Green is available, we want to deal with some of the stuff that has happened in this offseason with him, put him right there. Or, we're going to the second round with either JT Sumaleu or Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College. Any of them guys would be great. But I've really been thinking about other positions on offense. I look at tight end and Tyler Warren. You can have a 2 tight end set, or even I wouldn't be shocked, like, if Ashton Jeanty was gone to the Raiders, which I think might happen. I wouldn't be shocked if Ben Johnson pulls something like he did a few years ago with Gibbs and take Omarion Hampton at 10. People would not expect that. They know you're a good talent. Or, we might even go back and double back to wide receiver with Luther Burden Jr., because we do need a third wide receiver. But there's so many ways this draft can go, but I just want to hear y'all insight on what y'all think. As always, man, Chi-Town up, bear down.
No doubt that there are linemen available that is going to that's going to be worth drafting at 10. But I think that's the thing that the Bears have done special here. They've set themselves up to really do whatever makes the most sense, best player available, whatever it is, right? There's going to be some really good linemen in the second round as well that could project to be starters, right? So the Bears have set themselves up to take a swing, if you even want to call it that. Like, if you're saying swing at the best player available, I don't know if that's a swing, but they don't have to go position of need necessarily in the first round. Yeah, you're right. They could take the best lineman available, and I don't think anybody would be mad if they do that. But there are some really good skill positions there as well. Some still trenches positions. Of course, Jeanty is still an option there that I do think is a legitimate chance for the Chicago Bears. And we'll see what the Bears shake out there, man. I think overall, like, we'll see what happens and what the future does hold. And overall, the Bears, like I said, they've set themselves up well, and that's all you can really ask for. We'll see what the future holds there. All right, let's get into the next voicemail. This one's from Booker.
Yo, Hayes, what's good, man? This book, man, it's been a while, but still, blessings to you and yours. I had to take a little time away, off season, but now we back at it. I will say, so far for the off-season free agent moves, I'm a fan of everyone, every single move, even the new defensive end, Zaccheaus, I believe that's how you say his name. He has a lot of potential. I'm not a tape watcher or whatever, but I did check out a couple of his highlights and see how he explode off that line, man. And I see a lot of potential in that kid. But it looks like, man, we finally operating as a big boy operation, man. And I got to give a shout out to Kevin Warren, because I believe he has a lot to do with that. He probably set the higher ups down and was like, look, if you guys want to win, you got to spend money. And they had to break it down. You're going to spend money to make money. And now that this team is operating this way, I see a bright future. Now, if 2025 is going to be good, just wait until 2026. But that's all I wanted to say, man. Shout out to everybody, all the callers, all of the crew at CBC. But I just want to give you a call, man, and just say that, like always, Chicago up, bet down, and I'm out.
Bears have been really focused, man. And now that, like, they have even more money in 2026, that's the thing that makes this all crazy. The way that the Bears maneuvered with coming into this with $80 million in cap space, they immediately cut into almost half of that with two of the trades that they made. They still maneuvered very well through the free agent market. You're looking at a team that even if they do extend Kyler Gordon, if they extend Tooney, they're still looking at probably about $90 million, if not more, in cap space, if not more. And I think they could easily have more in that next season. That's a Bears team with having, and especially if that's a team then that's building off, hopefully, a playoff run. 2026 free agency could be one for the books for the Chicago Bears, right? Now, I'm not going to look too forward ahead to that. It's about what we can do now. But that, again, that's why Ryan Poles and how he sets up the team to make moves now, but he also maintains some future flexibility. And we haven't been moved up into that point yet where the Bears, like some teams, where you get into a point like the Kansas City Chiefs were there this year with Trey Smith, right? Where you get to a point where it's like it's really restricted for you to even keep your pieces, much less add to the team. And so Ryan Poles has always looked forward to that flexibility as well as the current. And that's going to pay off for him at some point, right? Now, that's going to start catching up as these young guys get extensions. Caleb gets an extension, as long as these players that were drafted are working out. But I think that, Ryan Poles so far, the way that he's maneuvered that and always worked in that flexibility has really helped the Chicago Bears tremendously. All right, let's get into the last voicemail, man. This one's from Antonio, first-time caller Antonio.
Yo, first-time caller. My name's Antonio. I'm actually from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Been a huge Bears fan for at least a decade, probably a little over that. Yeah, I wanted to call last year, but I was mad after every fucking game, man. Every game, like watching Caleb run around like hell with no help, man. DeAndre Swift, decent player, didn't even really get a chance because he never really had open field or to get past the O-line, man. Yeah, I'm happy with the signees that we got, man. Like the offensive linemen, I think that Joe Thuney and Drew Dolman, those were really good pickups, really, really good. We got Grady Jarrett. Nobody's seen that coming. I don't want to butcher the other dude's name, but the other D lineman, 6'6", like 240 or something like that. Big guy, going to be a disruptor. Get a lot of hits on the quarterback. Man, I'm excited. And now we're talking about getting Jeanty. I'm actually down for that conversation. How do you guys feel about that at Chicago Bears Central? Getting Ashton Jeanty now that we actually have an offensive line? Or who do you guys want to pick up now that our roster is more established, I guess you could say? Appreciate you letting me call. Hope y'all have a good one.
Jeanty, here's the thing, right? And so many people knock Jeanty for the conference that he played in. If I'm not mistaken, he played in the same conference as Khalil Mack, and Khalil Mack has worked out. I mean, not Khalil Mack. I'm sorry. Khalil. Anyway, and that's worked out for the Chicago Bears, right? So no, Khalil Mack did play in the Mack conference, right? So it works out. Like you never know. I get it that it's a legitimate question when you look at some of these players and you look at the competition that they face. But sometimes it's about the skill level that they have. You can still recognize skill level, right? You can still recognize the way that they read the holes, the gaps, right? The way that they once they get in the open field, how they maneuver. What do they look like? How do they break tackles? Things like that. There's a lot of things you can still learn from that. So Jeanty is an absolute option there for the Chicago Bears. And if they take it, great. If they don't, I mean, cool. I'm not mad if they take Jeanty. At this point, like I said, when we talked about all of this, and me and C-Dub talked about this early on, as long as you have addressed the offensive line in a meaningful way where you've really upgraded that line, that frees you up to take Jeanty if that's what you want to do. It'd be different if they took Jeanty and they didn't address the offensive line how they have in free agency. They have. So I think if they take Jeanty, he's not they've earned the right to be able to do that if that's who Ben Johnson wants and who he sees a vision for. Take Jeanty. Not mad at it at all. And we'll see what the future does hold there. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.